Welcome to the Sisters in Loss podcast, a faith-based podcast that spotlights Black women that replace silence with storytelling around pregnancy and infant loss and infertility. Black women experience miscarriage and stillbirth 4 to 5 times more likely than white women in the United States, according to the CDC and NIH. Whether you've experienced a miscarriage, infant loss, or stillbirth, are trying to conceive, or have an infertility diagnosis, you will learn about resources and strategies to heal, gain clarity, peace, and hope, and find an empowering path forward after loss. I'm your host, Erica M. Freeman, and you'll hear me interview other sisters in loss from around the world who have healed from such a painful and traumatic experience by sharing their testimonies and stories to inspire and help others turn their pain into their purpose. Storytelling is powerful. Storytelling is activism. Storytelling is healing. Now let's get started. Hey sis, welcome back to the podcast. We're back for another solo episode. It's just me, no guests, no scripts, no agendas. I'm recording this. I just got off of work. I just ate. I just walked around in my garden. I've been having a deer issue. So if you want to follow along with the crazy deer saga, please follow me on Instagram at Erica Michelle Free so you can see. It's always something. But I just wanted to pull up a chair and actually just sit and chat. This year I've made it my mission to sit and have more solo episodes in between some of these active episodes that we've had. I hope you have been really enjoying the podcast this year. I have really tried to curate and do new episodes, but also episodes that are really focused on healing and answering questions around people's grief and healing journey with like this rapid fire at the end. Hopefully you all have been enjoying it. But if you've been following me outside of my deer chronicles in my garden, you would know that I recently took some time away. I went on vacation to Asia, 3 countries for 10 days. I went to Tokyo, Japan, Bangkok and Phuket, Thailand, and Istanbul, Turkey. I stepped completely away from my desk, and I really wanted the time to just give my spirit some room to breathe. But as soon as I got back, it was right back to the fire, right back to work. I also ended up leaving, only was back in the country for a few days and went and spent some time in San Francisco and Napa Valley, California, before returning to the DC area. And I'm happy I took that time away because I needed to sit down and step back from my latest manuscript of my book, Never Healing Alone, and kind of read through and finalize the final draft and elements and edits for the book. So if you've been following along, the last time, back in May, I did an update where I actually read the introduction of the book, the newer introduction of the book. I haven't really changed the introduction. I've been obviously editing other parts of the book, but let me tell you, like, writing a book is such a marathon. It's probably no different than writing a dissertation. If I was going back to school to get my PhD, it's no different than writing a thesis for those of us who have master's degrees and folks who have gone on to get doctorates. This is this big, it's almost like your life's work. And I would consider this book to be very similar. So stepping back into the thought process of reading this book over, making sure it flowed well, making sure things were explained well or not overly explained, making sure that there's themes for each chapter and that I'm not repeating the same things over and over and over again. It took a lot out of me. So much so, I had to put my book down and literally just rest. And my version of resting comes with taking time out in my garden. Obviously, I couldn't do that as much because there were record hot temperatures in the DC area during July 4th weekend, but also taking time for rest for me also looks like binging a good TV show as well as reading books. So I read 3 books this weekend within those 3 days of pretty much a book a day. I finished The Revelation of Dion Daphne from Mara Barker Keel. I read Yesteryear, which is this big popular book about trad wives that's been on the New York Times bestseller list for a few weeks, or not a few weeks, several weeks. And I also ended up finishing, hold on, let me pull up my Audible because I don't want the author's not going to be mad at me that I did not quote their book correctly. I also finished Don't Tell Me About How It Ends by Adrian Thurman. I'm currently reading Love Me by Tiffany D. Cross, and I'm reading the Hoop series by Kennedy Ryan. Those are the 2 books that I'm currently in as we speak. So I needed to step away to actually read. And then what's next on my list are the Parachute series because that book came out today as I'm recording this episode on July the 7th, the 3rd book. So I haven't read the first 2. So those are going to be probably my listens to for this upcoming weekend. But I'm sharing all that to say that stepping away many times for a lot of us takes effort. We put a lot of work into perfectionism of things. And, I needed time to like recover from reading, rereading, re-editing, re-remembering what it felt like after each of my losses and the disappointment that follows. I definitely felt the FOMO, the fear of missing out, this past weekend, seeing, pictures and things on social medias of parties and things that I could have been at. But I needed to sit around and really do nothing all weekend. Not only my body needed because of the travel that I experienced over the last 2 weeks, traveling to Asia and then coming home for a few days and then traveling to California and back, but my heart and spirit needed rest. So I really want to talk in this quick mini podcast episode of really what grief fatigue is and really put into practice what I wrote in my book. So when I read through the pages, I looked at many of the stories of my own loss, which I do share in the book. And there's so many stories that I share of the beautiful women that have shared on the Sisters in Loss podcast, in our support groups, um, lots of clinical data, lots of history. I wanted to make sure that I pulled in all of the references of things that I researched as a part of this book. And I just really felt a deep bone exhaustion. It really settled like on my shoulders. Like this is the culmination of my life's work. But I realized a lot of us struggle with writing about trauma, talking about trauma, and editing trauma is its own form of labor. It brings up this fatigue and it's almost like a re-triggering of what we've experienced. And it's almost like a secondary grief or grief fatigue that we experience. Many times we think that we are over it or that we've processed it. But when we look under the microscope to make sure, all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, all the commas are in the right place, and the chapters flow, our nervous system remembers. So I know you see all on social media about having a regulated nervous system and making sure that you are consistently bringing peace into your life, I wanted to come to you all and just be completely transparent and say, I'm overreading it. I literally turned in those edited pages to my editor this afternoon and my agent. We also are finalizing the cover design, which I'll share in the next solo episode that we do once we finalize the concept of the design. And I realized once I turned in that I really had to make a choice. I had to decide if I was going to keep pushing, keep grinding, keep obsessing, or if I actually was going to practice exactly what I preached in the book. In chapter 8 of Never Healing Alone, I talk a lot about self care for the strong Black woman. I talk about dismantling this exhausting schema that we have learned from girlhood to womanhood that tells us that we have to carry everything and everybody, that we have to fix everything, and we never show a crack in our armor. But dismantling that armor isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily, sometimes hourly rebellion. So, what's my next step? I'm doing absolutely nothing, y'all. I'm going to frolic in my garden and figure out how to keep these deer away. I am stepping away from my manuscript. I'm not opening the document. I'm not going to check for the track changes. I'm going to place it in my editor's hands, and I am choosing a sacred pause. This sacred pause is not laziness, because I've done the work, sis. It is an act of preservation or self-preservation. It is a way of telling the world and telling me that my worth is not tied to my productivity, and that my healing requires rest just as much as it requires action. So even if I don't change a single word of this book, I can look at what has come together. And sis, I am so incredibly proud of it. I know that it's not only going to ensure that the Black woman or woman, femme, she, her, they feel seen, heard, valued, but also that they know that they are not alone. Um, but the biggest part of all of this sacred pause, especially as the book is with the editor, and I'm pretty sure I'll get my edits back as it goes into final production, where we start thinking about copy editing and how the book is going to be formatted, that this is my way of saving my energy. And I invite you all to do the same. Questions for you. Where do you need to take a sacred pause in your life right now? What are you overreading, overthinking, overcarrying? Can you give yourself permission to hand it over, whether to God, to a partner, or just to the universe, and just breathe? We're going to be all right. As the great poet and Pulitzer Prize winner Kendrick Lamar says, we gonna be all right, y'all. I promise you. But first, we need to rest. So take that sacred pause, sis. Step back from something that you've been going hard at to reevaluate yourself, but also to give yourself time to rest. So I thank you all for walking this journey with me. I love you. I appreciate you. And I'll talk to you next time. So go be gentle with yourself. Enjoy this next week. And hopefully, I'll come back with an update next month as we celebrate 9 years of podcasting and we share more about this book journey And I talked to you all about developing and finalizing the cover for Never Healing Alone, how to navigate grief and find community after pregnancy or infant loss. It comes out in April of 2027, and I'm crazy excited. I am gonna once the cover is finalized. Obviously, it's going to be all over social media, but I'm going to come over here first and probably do no different than I am recording a video here. Do a actual live podcast recording for everyone to see my cover in a live, whatever else place I can go live on, so that you all can be a part of this journey, because you've been here for the last 9 years, and I don't want to not take you on this journey of publishing a book through a traditional publisher, traditional big five publisher. Something else that I've been excited about with this book journey is that now the book is everywhere. So if I start to type in my name or the book, because of how, you know, traditional publishing works, it's not just on Amazon, y'all, it's everywhere. So it's exciting to see and be excited to see your name with the book, with the reason why you wrote the book, and what people are going to gain once they actually read it from cover to cover. My hope and prayer, outside of Black women being seen, heard, and valued, is that you know that you're not healing alone, and that you revisit the book as you navigate and transition on your grief journey, no matter where you are on your grief journey. So I thank you all for listening, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. For show notes, go to sistersinloss.com to stay connected with us and join the Sisters in Loss community and receive my weekly newsletter. Please go to sistersinloss.com/newsletter. That is sistersinloss.com/newsletter. Please rate and review this episode, and I will talk to you